What really happened behind Jungkook's departure to America? Is all this just a cover for a musical project, or is there a much bigger and surprising secret? Who is the mysterious woman on camera with him? Why did Taehyung suddenly speak? Is it about love, betrayal, or a scandal that has been covered up all this time? These questions continue to resonate in the hearts of the army, shaking trust and opening old wounds about the limits of privacy, honesty, and secrets that are too deep to hide any longer. When everyone believes it's about music, Taehyung is actually debunking truths that no one is ready to hear at all. The Incheon sky looked calm that morning, as if it was keeping something it wanted to keep secret from the world. It was as if the universe knew that the steps of a BTS Jungkook, who walked down the airport floor, were not ordinary steps. The fans waiting behind the glass saw only an idol about to leave. But no one really knows until the camera catches more than it should. Until a female shadow appears. Too close, too comfortable, too not accidental. It's no secret that Jungkook's recent departure to the United States has sparked a wave of speculation. Many media outlets reported that he was in the process of preparing a solo comeback, a reason that is reasonable, rational, and acceptable. But is that really the whole truth? Is it true that this is just a matter of music, or is it that music is used as a cover for something much more personal, more surprising, and more risky? The cameras of the fans, who initially only wanted to capture the moment of departure, accidentally caught a female figure walking behind Jungkook. His face was not clearly visible, but his gestures, the way he walked, and how Jungkook turned to him with a faint smile, all of them were like pieces of a puzzle that didn't want to be answered outright. Looks like a date? Too corny. But it's too accurate to ignore. Then who is he? What's even more shocking is not the fact that Jungkook was seen with a woman, but the fact that it wasn't HYB, not the media, not even his manager who first brought it up. But Kim Taehyung in an unexpected live broadcast. Taehyung, with a heavy voice and a hard-to-read expression, said, "There's something you didn't know. Maybe it's time to let him live his life, for something that can finally make her happy, even if it's not what you expected." What does that phrase mean? Is this a form of support? Or a warning? Taehyung, who has always been known as one of Jungkook's closest people, suddenly becomes the first to open the gap to this big puzzle. Instantly, the fandom world shook. The hashtags #ProtectJungkook and #WhoIsShe began to dominate social media. But a deeper question slips instead between those loving and anxious comments. Do we, as fans, really know him? Or do we just get to know the pieces of him formed by the screen and the songs? Some army tried to connect pieces of information. Incheon Airport has a check-in system that requires passengers to wait at least 5 minutes after check-in for baggage checks. Enough time to walk, turn your head, interact, and for the camera to capture something that shouldn't have been captured. And if that time is not a coincidence, then the moment may not be either. There was also another incident that made things even more complicated. The incident of the recent attempt to break into Jungkook's house. The events left his mother in shock, the manager furious, and HYB finally taking tough action against Taehyung. But if it really hurts Jungkook, why is he seen with someone openly at the airport, a place full of cameras and risks? What's changed, or who changed it? Taehyung, in his latest interview, seemed much more emotional than usual. He even said a sentence that immediately split the hearts of fans. Jungkook will never do something without a reason. But sometimes you won't understand why, because it's not for you. It was for himself. Is this a sign that Jungkook has been living under the pressure of fans, expectations that are too high? Is this the reason he has refused to open up about his personal relationship? More questions were raised when some fans discovered that the woman with Jungkook had the same bracelet that was once seen in one of Jungkook's posts on Weverse, an upload that has now been deleted. Coincidence? Or proof? But it's not just the fans who are speculating. Some of the staff, who did not want to be named, said they had seen Jungkook very moody in recent weeks. He often sits quietly alone. Many thought he was tired because of the schedule, but there may be something else, said one of the staff. This statement seems to confirm speculation that his departure to America is more than just a musical affair. What about solo projects? Is this just a distraction? Or does the project actually exist, but is it used as a shield to cover up something more personal? One thing is clear. Taehyung knows something that no one else knows. And his choice to speak up was not by chance. At the end of his live, Taehyung stared at the camera for a long time. His eyes send a message. He didn't say anything, but his expression was as if to say, "You will know, sooner or later, but do not regret when you know the answer." And that phrase still rings true today. I asked Jungkook in love. Is it about someone from the past coming back, or a new love that suddenly appears and changes everything? Is this the real reason he's no longer as intense as he used to be on Weverse, or why his recent posts are more personal but seem controlled? Are we watching Jungkook give up her idol role for a moment and be herself? Or is this the beginning of separation? A big decision, whether to start a new chapter in his life, or to close a book that has been written with the army. News about music can be created at any time. But love, it can't be faked. And if this is true love, then everything that the fans have believed in so far can be shaken, because it wasn't just about who the woman was, but why Taehyung was the first voice to speak. Why not Jungkook? Is he afraid? Or is there an agreement that cannot be broken yet? In his silence, Jungkook may be plotting to tell the truth, but is the world ready to hear it? Is the army ready? If the answer is not what they expected, and the last question, which no one has been able to answer until now, is it about a love that has been kept secret, or about a life that is never entirely ours to judge? After Taehyung gave a cryptic statement that shocked fans, thousands of ARMY immediately hunted down every detail that might have been missed. Jungkook's old live was rewatched, small movements at the airport were resumed, until feeds from stylists and their closest crew were skinned one after the other. And it is that in the process, one of the smallest moments becomes precisely the most surprising. Taehyung's V-Live broadcast 3 months ago, which was not very viral at the time, there was one moment where he chuckled while mentioning the sentence. There is someone he secretly met. Not from this world, not from this industry. But he made Jungkook stop singing for 3 days. At the time, fans thought it was a joke. But now, the sentence becomes like an open cipher. Does stop singing for 3 days mean Jungkook was hit? Or are you so in love that you can't focus? It doesn't end there. One of the most goosebumps-inducing clues came from a Taehyung post featuring only one emoji, ring point one emoji. But hundreds of thousands of ARMY read more than that. And what is more surprising? The upload time was exactly 2 days before Jungkook flew to the US. Coincidence? Again, now all the little details are starting to feel like part of a big plan. Especially after there was a rumor unconfirmed but spreading quickly in the fan community that the woman who was with Jungkook at the airport was not just a close friend, but someone who's been living off the public radar. Someone who Jungkook may have hidden very neatly, or even by HYB herself. This speculation went wild when a photographer claimed to see the same female figure a few months ago. In Korea, it comes out of an apartment belonging to a famous artist frequented by Jungkook. The photo is blurred, but the clothes and features of the body look very similar to the figure of a woman at the airport. And then, one fan did a pattern matching of the shirt and discovered that the white hoodie the mysterious woman was wearing was a limited release hoodie that was only given to a member of Jungkook's personal crew. The hoodie is not for sale. There are only 6 hoodies in the world. So, who is he? Crew? Close friends?
No.
Or future wife? The confusion deepened when Taehyung's biggest fanbase, which usually doesn't interfere in personal matters, posted a suspicious message. We only know what they tell us. But not all love deserves to be announced. Some love needs to be protected, because otherwise it will be destroyed by our own expectations. The sentence is weighty. Too emotional to be considered neutral. Is this a warning? Is this part of a strategy for fans to start learning to let go of their expectations of the members' personal relationships? But then, the thing that really keeps the entire fandom community silent is not a video, not a photo, not a statement. Jin's reaction, yeah. Jin, the eldest Taehyung, who has been considered neutral and wise, in one of the short clips when meeting with fans in private, was asked about Jungkook's news. And in a low voice, Jin just answered, "Jungkook knows what he's doing. We all know. We've known long enough. It's him. You know, he's not a kid anymore." Those words, while simple, were like affirming that Jungkook's decision was an agreed upon, known, and possible decision. Roger that. SO, does HYB know? One of the intern. Jungkook's silence during this time is not ignorance. But it's more like the way a person chooses to love in silence, rather than creating a stir for a love that is not yet ready to fight in the public eye. But now, with every second that has passed since he set foot on American soil, those seconds have turned into irrefutable evidence. Something is happening. Something that isn't about music. It's not about the schedule. It's about the heart. And who would have thought? The red thread finally began to appear. The mysterious female figure captured on camera, in a white hoodie and black hat, is now believed to be someone from Jungkook's past, someone who once stood just a few feet away from him, on stage, but was never really in the spotlight, a former backup dancer. Yeah, you heard right. This rumor started sticking out after one of the fanbase from abroad uploaded a video cut of BTS's performance at the 2018 Love Yourself tour concert. At 3:47, a figure of a woman who has a height and posture very similar to the woman who was recently seen with him at the airport was seen, and even more surprising, the figure also appeared in BTS's dance practice video that was released exclusively on Bangtan TV in 2019. If it is the same person, then this is not a new love. This is a delayed love. A love that grows quietly behind the spotlight. A love that is silenced by status and contract. Hidden love because it is not allowed to grow. But why now appear? Why, after all this time, did Jungkook choose not to hide anymore? The fans began to devise theories, and what shook the most was the allegation that Jungkook had concluded his personal contract that had set the limits of his personal relationship. A contract that has not been written explicitly, but has always been understood. That love is forbidden for the sake of image. Now he's an adult. He can choose. He can say no to demands that force him to live like a puppet, and with his departure to the US, he seemed to say without words, I chose myself. But what does all this mean for the future of BTS? This is where emotional conflicts arise. Fans are divided. There are those who cry and feel betrayed, feeling that all this is too sudden, too shocking, too not Jungkook. But there are also those who slowly begin to accept that maybe Jungkook has been waiting for the right time. A time when he can reveal who he is, without fear. But it's not just fans who are shaken. The reaction of some members was also a concern. Jimin, who is known to be very close to Jungkook, suddenly posted a short post on Weverse. Sometimes we don't know who will stay. But we know who we have to protect. The post went viral immediately. Fans suspected Jimin was talking about Jungkook. Or about that woman? Or about himself feeling abandoned? Has anything between Jimin and Jungkook changed? This theory went wild when during Taehyung's short live broadcast, a fan asked, "Is JK okay in America?" And Taehyung simply replied, "He is not alone." But not everyone could understand the reason he was there. Again, not the usual answer. Then what about HYB? To date, the agency has not provided any clarification. But this silence actually builds speculation that they deliberately let this news flow. Why? Because they know this is already unstoppable. And maybe because they, too, are preparing for an inevitable wave of reactions. This news even reached the ears of the international media. But amid a wave of rumors and reactions, one statement from a former K-pop idol's manager went viral. In an interview not affiliated with HYB, he said, "Behind every sudden departure of an idol abroad, there are always two big possibilities, projects or a fugitive. Is Jungkook running away?" The question was like piercing the heart of the army who had felt the safest home for the golden magne. But the house is too depressing. It can also feel like a prison. And if there really is love being fought there, do we deserve to hate him for choosing to love? One of the army with the most followers wrote this on his personal account. "If you really love her, you'll be glad she found someone who can make her laugh when she's not on stage. Because there is no music more beautiful than the laughter of those you love." Now all eyes are on America, not for song releases, but to see if Jungkook would dare show up, with someone who was never on stage, but was always in the spotlight. Will he hold her hand openly? Will he hold the camera and say, "Here I am, and here it is"? If that happens, then not only the career will change, but the whole direction of the relationship between Jungkook and the army. Forever. What if all this time what you thought was just an illusion was a reality that had lasted long before you realized it? And what if the love that you have been desperately defending